In this video, we're going to talk about the British pound. It's been very active today ahead of tomorrow's Scotland vote on independence from the UK. Let's start off with our British pound composite chart here. This is a proprietary chart that we put together, and we can see the pound is above this blue, the red index line. The pound is above this blue horizontal zero line. That indicates that there is buying activity across the British pound complex. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those individual currency pairs and see what's going on. Starting off with cable, which is the British pound against the US dollar. We've drawn a red arrow here to show that the pound has reached this key level, this 163.20 area that we identified in a previous video. That is a retracement level. Above that, we have a red downtrend line coming here, and we see further targets around 164.85 and then around 166.20. Let's also be mindful of this blue uptrend line here that we need to think about on our daily charts. Over on the weekly charts, it might be a little bit more easy to see. Here we can see last week the pound touched and tested this blue horizontal line and then has been a significant buy ever since there. We tested some resistance last week up around 162.80 and then moved higher. We would also look at 164.25 as an upside target and then this 166.30 level again. Let's also be mindful of this 50-week moving average here in yellow. Finally, on the monthly chart, we can see that we have the 50-month moving average right around 160.15 right now. That may be providing some short-term support. And then we also see the red downtrend line here. So we can see we came close to this 160 figure level here. That's a big support line. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple other currency pairs, starting with euro against the pound. We see here today that the euro sterling cross rate fell below the 50-day moving average. That is likely in response to the referendum tomorrow. Most probably the markets are telling us they believe the no vote will succeed and the yes vote will fail in Scotland tomorrow. Over here on the weekly chart, we've also drawn a red down arrow to indicate some selling activity. This week, the cross rate basically tested the 80 pence figure and has moved lower. On the downside, we are looking for some support perhaps around this blue uptrend line. And then finally, on our monthly chart, we want to go ahead and look at some levels. On the downside, we would look for some buying activity, some support, probably around the 77.85 area down here. That is also coincides with this blue uptrend line. And then above there, resistance-wise, we look to the 81.70 area most immediately. Finally, we want to take a look at another way to make money from this trade. That is the British pound against the Japanese yen. Here we can see yesterday the cross rate bounced off this key 173.05 area on the daily chart. That's above this 50-day moving average. We've put a blue up arrow to indicate, and we've seen some very strong buying activity since then. We've seen almost 2 yen or 200 pips in buying demand. We can see on this weekly chart, it's very clear to see we bounced off this 175.14 area today. We came off a little bit. Above there, our target areas would include 177.80 and right around 180.10 as upside targets. Finally, on this monthly chart, we can see that this month we have bounced around and tested and moved higher from this red down line. So we will keep our eye on the